Hi, I'm Ryan Malyar, Executive Director at WMCT-TV, and today I'm joined by, you may know him just as Kaz. He is such a fun personality here in the Marlborough community, and we are in this beautiful church. Kaz, tell us about your role here at the church, and for those who don't know, what church we are in right now.
So, hello. We are right now in the oldest church and in the oldest civic institution of Marlborough. First church in Marlborough, Congregational United Church of Christ. And I am the pastor. I am the 29th pastor in its history.
Wow.
And this building is from 1858. It is our fifth building.
Fifth building?
Fifth building.
Same location, or has it moved around a bit?
So there were two churches on this location, and where the Walker building is standing, that's where the first church was.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's why there's a graveyard over there as well.
Well, that makes sense.
Yep.
That's why we can't have parking behind the Walker.
You are welcome. You are welcome. We are here for you.
So this month in October and November, we're coming up to Thanksgiving, of course, and we're talking about everything that we're grateful for. So we decided that it was a good opportunity to celebrate all of the nonprofit groups in Marlborough. And so I'm curious, of course, a church is a home, and it is a meeting place. And how does this particular church serve the Marlborough community?
So I think, over the 360 years almost, we've done it in many different ways. So, for example, for a very long time, the oldest town clerk was also the pastor.
Oh, double duty.
The whole duty, because the pastor was the person who knew how to read and write.
Wow.
And also the first schools were in the meeting house. So also it used to be called the meeting house because civic organizations, city hall meetings were held in the church, in the meeting house. And then, then we changed. We were instrumental in founding the first library. One of our trustees was also the trustees of the first library. Right now there are many churches. So what we do is, for example, this month we're doing a drive for baby wipes. And again, if you're wondering why there are no baby wipes around in Marlborough, that's because we are busy little bees buying them out at industrial levels. And so we're going to donate that to the food pantry because I had no idea, but apparently there's always a shortage of those and they're quite expensive. So, we're trying to do that. We are also doing a drive. This is for Worcester Fellowship. It's for the homeless people in Worcester. They give them out. They go through 130 pairs of socks every week. Wow. So again, we're doing that through October. But also, this place we have organ concerts here in the sanctuary. We also have the Merrimack Valley Ringers. We have
the bell.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So we the Boy Scouts meet here, the Girl Scouts meet here. So we try to continue of being both a meeting house for the community, but also we try to be as faithful, but also as current as we can when it comes to worshiping.
This church song is popping in my head right now, and it's, the church is not a building, the church is not a steeple, the church is not a resting place, the church is the people. Oh, we had someone singing over here too. Something about the character of this congregation and the way you lead.
Well, I really shouldn't. I don't know how I lead. They are wonderful. So they are absolutely wonderful. They accepted me with open arms, and let's just face it, I'm crazy. And I'm their first openly gay minister because the first guy who came here in 1666, he was not married. And let me tell you. That's all I'm
spilling the tea.
Yeah. He also refused to baptize babies that were born on a Sunday. He thought that they showed a ungodly predisposition because instead of allowing mother to go to worship on Sunday, decided to disrupt the Lord's Day by coming out.
Well, things have changed.
Yeah, I wouldn't baptize him. No, just but yeah, so they have changed. They are absolutely wonderful. They volunteer a lot. I'm actually surprised in how many places I meet them. And in how many organizations I meet them, and in the library board, for Mayor Christian Dumas, there was a number of my folks, we people that are involved with veterans are also very involved in this church. So Krista, Manny Sargent, and so it really is a lot of people. I think they just do their thing and don't let me distract them too much. And on a Sunday it is a captive audience. So, they are just wonderful. They are very wonderful, faithful Christians, and they're good folk.
Now, I know the church has a very strong women's fellowship,
Yes.
which we had another interview about, but I see so many different activities happening all the time. I've seen theater productions happen
Yep.
here, and I see a lot of spaghetti dinners happening.
Yes.
Who are the sort of other different offset groups that run all these different different activities?
Oh, okay. So we have a very active Bible study, and there's also another group which is outreach. So, for example, they go to Wisteria Mission Society, WAMS Works, and they're now having this program of welcoming new Americans, of distributing hygiene kits. So people volunteer for that of all ages. And then we have people who work with Worcester Fellowship. And then we have people who serve at Our Father's Table. So it's the Women's Fellowship, and then we ask the confirmants to come in because we stress that faith has a practical aspect. It's not only what you believe in, and it's also not only what you do. You have to combine those two. One flows out of the other. And there is, the deacons who make sure that this service runs smoothly despite my best efforts. To the contrary. And very often I will change the hymn or, add a verse.
Oh,
There's the choir. We have a bell choir, Joyful Ringers, who is just, they're just fantastic, by Diane Burke. So again, there's a lot of things, and I think it functions very well because they keep a healthy distance between me and that. Like, I come up with ideas, they go, "Oh, that's a great idea, Kaz," and then I leave, and they just make it happen in a normal, insane way.
well, it seems like it's just a very active congregation.
Oh God, yes, they
Yeah.
very, very much are. No, they're just absolutely wonderful. Yeah.
Are there any big events that are coming up that we should have our eye on? Any particular community outreach events, special services, or
Yes.
spaghetti dinners that I should put on my calendar?
So spaghetti dinners are happening. We're having a tiny bit of a glitch, but I would definitely recommend right now the Meeting House Fair that's coming up. Also, on the third Sunday of Advent, so you'll have to Google when that is, but on the third Sunday of Advent, so we are having, we don't worship in the sanctuary, move it downstairs into the church hall, and we have something which is called a love feast. So it is in the tradition of the Moravians, and it is we serve warm cocoa, cold cider, and tepid water, and these very special Moravian buns,
Ooh.
and we sing a lot of Christmas carols and Advent hymns. And it is served by our confirmands, by our youth. It is a delightful service. It was thought of by one of our deacons with me. We kind of brainstormed together. And the Moravians are an interesting group. They came from the part of Europe I come from originally. And they were one of the first to send out missionaries into the world. And they also were keen on abolishing slavery and all that stuff. And so once a year, the legend is when people traveled to the church in between the morning and the afternoon service, some people went home, but some didn't have a place to stay. So the pastor said, "Well, why don't you stay in the building?" And so they stayed in the building and started singing hymns. And people in the surrounding houses were so impressed that they brought them warm food.
Wow.
And so this is what we do. It's on the Sunday of Love. I wear pink. It's like pink galore. Everybody dresses in pink.
Oh,
Even after so many years, I got the men to dress in pink. They're now like very comfortable. Straight. I'm a straight guy in pink. And it's just a fantastic thing to do.
can you talk about the collaboration that the church has
Yeah.
with the beautiful park outside? There's an agreement with the city, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we own the common. It's called the Union Common because this church for a while was known as the Union Church. Long and fascinating but boring story to anybody but me. And so it's called Union Common. And we rent it out to the city for $1, and we encourage civic use of that area because, it's one of the largest greens areas. And
it's so central to downtown.
exactly.
Of course, we love having the concerts on the Common and that being utilized, but it's fantastic during the tree lighting every year.
Yes.
Because the sanctuary is then open and we have
Exactly.
performances in
Absolutely.
of the Marlborough High School
Yep.
Orchestra.
Yeah.
And that's always just a really joyful time.
So one of the funny stories was when I first came here, there's the John Brown bell, which we do not own. I cannot stress this enough. We do not own it. We are not responsible for the typo on the plaque, even though I'm responsible for a lot of typos. And so this somebody was trying to sue, because it's a John Brown bell, to get it back to Virginia. And apparently one of the, not Marlborough people, but the one from Virginia called us, and sadly they got me, and they said, so how do you feel about the bell going down and into Virginia? And I said, well, I say no reason why it should go down. And they said, well, why not? And, you know, people here know I'm very direct. So I said, well, we did win that war, didn't we? And after that, I was asked not to give any interviews.
Wow. Your spirit, your laughter is infectious. So I can only imagine how engaging your sermons are. We're getting some.
That's a good answer. That's a great answer.
Off to the side. What do you speak on topical things? How do you keep your sermons relevant yet still paying attention to what is scoped out for you to speak about during the year?
So I'm a lectionary preacher, which means that there are lections assigned. It's a 3-year cycle. So they're assigned. And I tend to preach on the gospel, but not necessarily. I sometimes preach on the Psalms, on the Hebrew Bible, also known as the Old Testament. I think it is a hard thing because the pulpit is the place where in our Reformed tradition, we preach the gospel. So kind of we preach Jesus, the good news of Jesus. And there always is the temptation to be a little too relevant. And I think a lot of clergy are unfulfilled, me including politicians. And I try to stay away from that. I think at least. But because the challenge is, how do you make a text from 2,000 years ago relevant? And, a lot of people don't know how to read the Bible. They think literal reading is the only way you read it. And you have to understand the context. So, for example, this past week we had seemingly harsh words by Jesus, but then you have to understand, there's a sentence there in the beginning that you kind of say, okay, so he moved from one area to another, but that sentence sets the stage for why he's saying those things and what he's alluding to. So my sermons are roughly between 12 and 14 minutes. And again, I tried to focus, my professor in seminary said, when all is said and done, somebody should be able to answer a question about your sermon. What was the good news of the gospel? It doesn't always have to be happy news, but what is the good news? So that's what I try to do.
Where can people find out more about when your services are held and all the wonderful events that you have going on here?
So we hold services every Sunday at 10 o'clock. We, once a month, on the second Wednesday of the month, we have Vespers with a wonderful musician. That's at 7 p.m. And once a month in New Horizons, at 1:30, I hold a communion service there. Everything is on our website or on Facebook. People know I'm a total Facebook addict. Trying not to use the word that rhymes with lore. So you can find out there. Our church website and Facebook page are very current. So if you're looking for old-fashioned preaching tabs, I'm very high church in that respect. Do come. We try to both confess and live out our faith. So.
Well, thank you so much for hosting us here and your beautiful church.
Thank you.
It's been great getting to know a little bit more about all the wonderful things that you do here.
Thank you, and happy Reformation Day, not Halloween. Happy Reformation Day, Marlborough.
Take care.